Hi guys, just a quick flick through of Outpost 2099. Just received my nice print retail version here. So that's the cover, quite a nice cover on that one. And so just have a quick flick through. So we've got the inside cover, and now we have the list of previous books as usual. A reminder of my YouTube channel, and you can follow me on Facebook if you want to know what's coming up in the future and so on. And we've got a contents page here which shows 10 outposts and rules and various other things, so usual kind of thing. And then this one has 15 pages of rules and has plenty of diagrams in it as well, so takes you through things nice and carefully, nice and slowly, explains it nice and clearly as ever. You see lots of these examples of playing things to have a look at. So this is a fairly light game, not as light as something like Beaches of the Brave or Quest for the Brave, but certainly not as heavy as perhaps some of my other recent games such as Lone Sherman or Assault on Vimy Ridge, those kinds of, and you know, most of the other war games as well, to be honest. This is lighter than that, but not light. So probably take 30 to 50 minutes, I think I've said, to play a game. Nice and replayable. The idea of this game is that you are defending your outpost, and you can see the design of the outpost will vary or change mission to mission or outpost to outpost. There are 10 different outposts altogether. You see some of the later ones are kind of split into two parts, so different strategies required for different outposts, certainly. You get counters with this game here, and there's not many of those. There are 12, 16, 17, probably 18 or 19 counters altogether. Doesn't take long to make those. And in fact, this is a great one to play with cubes and or other markers or counters, or even minis if you've got any of those kind of things. So basically there are 6 standard aliens, as I've called them, and then 6 indestructible aliens. And they're numbered 1 to 6, so you do need to be able to differentiate between them. Apart from that, you've got your 4 main human crew members. So we have here Ellen, Sarah, James and Max. We've got a couple of soldiers in there, Sarah and James, and we've got a couple of scientists, Max and Ellen. And they have different abilities and different roles, different actions. Got a shield marker, which is part of the game, a research counter or marker which we need, and then there's a robot that you can activate as well. So, but as I say, you can probably tell by the design of this, it's one that you can easily use with cubes. I've been using meeples in playtesting, but you could quite happily use counters for the aliens, as long as you, as I say, you can differentiate between the 6 of them. So the aliens come down these tracks. So the AI obviously operates the aliens, brings them down these tracks. There are 6 tracks, so you can probably guess how they work with dice rolls and so on. And then they come into the outpost on these orange arrows, and once they're in the outpost, they will then hunt your crew. So it's not a case of as soon as they enter the outpost you lose, like perhaps some other kind of States of Siege style games, I guess. This is in this case they come into the outpost and then they start to hunt you. See, and you can still dispose of them at that point, send them right back to the starting point of their tracks. So it can get quite exciting when you've got team members or crew members cornered, or you've got to help each other out and make desperate moves to try and remove the aliens from the outpost and so on. One way of removing them is to freeze them, and if you do that, they come back as an indestructible alien. As the name suggests, you can't then get rid of that alien again, so you've got to be careful about when you do that. The objective of the game is to research on this research tracker at the bottom here up to 12. Once your research hits 12, whenever you destroy or eliminate an alien at that point, it stays eliminated and doesn't come back. Up until that point, generally, the aliens are just pushed back to the start of their tracks and they come again, so it's sort of wave after wave, if you like. Once you've completed your research, which is not easy to do whilst you're defending your outpost, then, as I say, you can finally get rid of the aliens. Once you've destroyed all 6 of them, because at that point you can also destroy indestructible aliens. Once you've destroyed all 6, then you win the game. It's not easy. The first outpost, I think, win that most times, to be honest, but after that they get harder and harder as we go through, and there are some fairly challenging outposts, certainly in the latter stages of the book. So there are 10 of those. You only choose, for each outpost, you choose 3 at random of the 4 human crew members. So again, that will mix up your playthroughs as well. So there's lots of replayability, because depending on this particular skill set that you get, It will again affect how you play the game. If you have 2 soldiers and a scientist, then you're going to have to defend probably for longer whilst they research. If you've got 2 scientists and 1 soldier, then you're going to want to get on with the research as soon as you can and defend as and when is necessary, when things get perhaps a bit more desperate. The soldiers are not the same, the scientists are not the same, so there's differences between those as well. So it does depend which scientist you get and which soldier you get as well as to how you play the game. So lots of replayability. The robot can be activated and can do limited actions, but will also, if you're not careful, self-destruct or malfunction, in which case you'll have to reactivate it. So you, on your turn, you say on the alien's turn, the aliens move towards you and obviously then hunt down your crew members. On your turn, you roll 1 die per crew member is how this works, and then you allocate those die to your crew members depending on what you want them to do according to the chart over here. So the crew members have different actions they can perform depending on which die is allocated to them. So that gives rise to some really difficult decisions sometimes about, it might give a choice between perhaps shooting an alien back to the start of its track that's getting quite near the outpost, or doing some research to push the track up. And it's a balancing act as to how quickly you research versus how far you let the aliens get to the outpost. There's more to it than that. There are lots of other actions you can see on here. I'm not going to explain them all for obvious reasons, but there are there are weapons that the soldiers can use inside the outpost. You can activate robots. You can defend the outpost in other ways by activating the shield and various other defensive mechanisms. So they're nice, clear graphics I went with on this one. I wanted to sort of keep almost a cartoony effect here. I wanted it first and foremost to be nice and clear. The print is much better than it was on my playthrough video, which I have done. This is the proper printed version, whereas my playthrough is done on my home printed version, which is obviously never as good. This is lovely printing, quality printing as usual. And there we are. So there are lots of things to do in there, and that should keep you occupied for quite a long time, I think, especially given the very reasonable price. Available on Amazon as ever. Make sure you order it from your local Amazon site. And if you're in Europe, then it's going to be .uk or .de in Germany, and .fr in France and so on. Make sure you get to the right Amazon store to get the best postage or shipping. And that's Outpost 2099 available now. Thanks.